If you can start with a free legendary champion, why wouldn't you? For today's video, I'm actually going to give you a tier list of these new player legendaries that you can get your hands on. Hey you guys, it's Cece. Welcome back to my channel. I thought today we would do something a little bit different and something that is a little bit more fun and maybe something that can actually be helpful for you. So if you are a new player to raid, there's a few different ways that you can actually go ahead and play the game. Now the first thing you want to do, of course, is download the game, and there are tons of ways you can do that. Go to an app store, download that way. But I'm going to stop you right there because the first thing that you should be doing is using some type of content creator's download link. For example, if you actually go ahead and use my link, you will start your account off with a Legendaries. She's a legendary attacker. She is going to place HP burn, she places poison, and she can actually explode those debuffs. So she is a champ I still use. I think she's a fantastic champion. You get to actually start her on day one if you are using my link. So I always recommend you're starting an alternate account, whole new account, use my link, get yourself a Legendaries. So that's going to be the first thing you want to do. Now, the next thing you can do is actually enter a new player code. And there are tons of different codes that you can pick from, but some of these actually give you legendary champions. So for the purposes of today's video, I'm going to go over the ones that are more of a limited time. They're not here all of the time. So you kind of want to make an account now and take advantage of it while it's here. Now, I will also mention I'm going to include Michelangelo in here because he is also a champion that you can get for free. All you have to do is log in for 7 days and you get this legendary champion. So he is also going to be included in this tier list. So we need to go ahead and actually place these champions down. Now, the first one I am going to go ahead and place in here is, of course, my download link champion. I'm going to put her in double S. Of course I am, you guys. Number one, because I picked her to be in my download link, but I already kind of went over her skills. I think her poison is great. And when you're starting raid, you're picking a starter champion. I suggest Kyle because her and Kyle, they work so well together. Hand in hand, I still use her. Of course, I'm gonna put her up there at the top. Next up, of course, I need to go ahead and place Mikey up in here. Now, for a login champion, I'm actually gonna go ahead and place him at the double S tier. And there are a few different reasons for that, but he is a login champion, so yeah, you get him for free, which is great, but he's actually really good. So looking at Mikey himself with what he actually does, he gives you an ally accuracy in battles by 70. This is something that can be really helpful if you're doing Doom Tower, you're not landing debuffs, but you need to. It's actually nice to have that aura in there. First skill attacks 2 times. If either hit was critical, it's going to place an increased attack buff on this champ as well for 2 turns. Second skill attacks an enemy. Before attacking, he actually has a chance to do a defense break, which is nice. You'll do more damage that way. Has a chance of placing a stun debuff. Also is going to ignore resistance if the attack is critical. You want to build them with quite a bit of crit if you can. Applies a debuff spread effect. So it's actually going to take all the debuffs from the target and then put it onto all of the enemies. And again, if it's critical, you'll ignore the target's resistance. So debuff spread is also really nice. Don't land that debuff on everyone. He will spread it out for you. Third skill attacks all enemies. You have a chance of a 50% decrease attack debuff and a leech debuff for 2 turns, ignoring resistance if it's critical. It places a taunt buff on this champion for 2 turns. The taunt is also very nice. It provides some support into your team in there. But for a legendary attack here, super good. He's got this passive / active. The passive effect, 15% chance to evade an enemy's skill and all of its accompanying effects. If the champ is under taunt, then the chance to evade is actually going to increase. And if you have any of the other turtles, then the champ will join in on that attack. The active effect places a shield buff equal to 300% of this champion's attack on this champ for 1 turn when they receive a hit. So you do get a shield buff as well. So you do want to build him with certain stats, but for the fact that he's a login champion, he is a very good attacking champ. I feel like there's no way that I could not have placed him up here on this triple S rank. Now, next up, we are going to go in with Tuhanarak. So she is also going to be a double S. I feel like if I was making a new account, I may actually potentially pick her. Part of the reason is because she is a void legendary, and it's nice to have that void affinity because if you are going up against like the force or the spirit, you're good. You're kind of neutral to it. You're not going to be weak to them. So for that reason, yeah, I do think she's a really good one in there. But it is actually also her kit that makes her strong. So she is a legendary support. And remember, I've started you off with an attack. Mikey's attack. So maybe you want to throw a support in there. Her aura is accuracy in battles by 70. Again, it does not hurt to have that. Now, her first skill attacks an enemy. You have a chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. Having this on a skill 1 and being able to decrease speed is pretty big. It also has a heal, so 15% continuous heal buff on this champ for a turn, as well as a continuous heal buff on the ally with the lowest HP. And all of this, again, is on a skill 1. Skill 2, you have a chance of placing a decreased attack debuff, block buffs debuff, and a debuff spread effect, taking 2 random debuffs from the target, placing it on all enemies. You can be spreading debuffs for days and days, her and Mikey. Third skill, increased defense and increased speed buff. So the fact that you have the support in there, you're getting buffed up with your defense. You're getting faster with the speed. She also has a passive. Removes 1 random debuff from all allies at the start of each turn. Remove 2 random debuffs instead from allies under continuous heal buffs. So she is a champ you could use in PvP. You can use her in arena and things like that. But I do think in terms of dungeons and all the PvE parts of the game, she's really good. And just between the speed manipulation we have in here, she's definitely like a top of the list. So I think it only makes sense to put her in this double S tier. All right, next up, let us go in with Wukong. So Wukong is one of those champs as well. Depending on what you're doing, I feel like everyone's ending up in this double S tier. I feel like I can't not put Wukong up here though. So he was the champion that I actually ended up picking when I got my account going and I got to pick one of these champs. Tuhanarak was not an option, so I did pick him, but I actually have no regrets in picking him. So if you are more PvP focused, you're thinking of arena, then this is gonna be the champ for that. He is a legendary attack type, 25% chance of placing a stun debuff for a turn that's on that first skill. It's going to increase if they actually have buffs. Second skill, ignore 50% of the target's defense. I feel like I can get a lot of damage output with this skill. It's going to attack any remaining enemies with surplus damage if the target is killed. The attack will also ignore 50% of the target's defense. The attack can't be critical, but the surplus damage is really nice. Now, if that initial target actually survives, you're going to sheep them for a turn, and that can't be blocked. So when you're in a PvP type battle, sheeping them can actually be nice. It can buy you some time. Third skill, this one I love because attacks all enemies, but before attacking, he's actually going to steal the buffs from all the enemies and then block buffs for 2 turns. So I've been in a number of situations in arena where they have these buffs, and then he goes ahead and steals them. So satisfying. He also has a very unique passive. This revives this champion with 100% HP and 100% turn meter as long as 3 turns were taken after he was killed. And that's just as long as like he's dead, but you have other allies alive. 3 turns go around, little self-revive in there. And of course, I need to mention his ally speed in arena battles by 28%. I use this aura at 99.9% of the time when I am doing my live arena battles. So again, if you are looking for a champ that's going to help you in arena, then he is going to be your top choice. Next up, we are going to go in with Alice. So Alice, I'm going to put her in A tier. She would be double S tier, but I actually personally think that Tuhanarak and Wukong are like 1 step higher than her just because of what they actually do. It's not to say Alice is a bad champ. If she is one of the ones that kind of interests you and fascinates you, then it's not a bad champ that you can actually pick from. So for her skills, we're going to go ahead looking at her aura first. Ally attack in all battles by 30%. So she's going to be a legendary attacker. And again, I'm factoring in, you've got a Legendaries as an attacker. You picked Michelangelo as an attacker. So I'm trying to set things kind of apart with that, but she's good too. First skill, attacks an enemy 2 times, places an extra hit if the target has any active skills on cooldown. Each hit has an 80% chance of decreasing the duration of a random buff on the target by a turn. Second skill, attacks all enemies, 75% chance of increasing the cooldowns of all enemy skills by 2 turns. Also has a 75% chance of decreasing each target's turn meter by 15%. If at least one of the target skills has its cooldown increased to the max, decrease their turn meter even more. So she is going to give you some of that turn meter control in there, and you can get a lot of damage output from Alice. Third skill will ignore 20% of the target's defense. If they're killed, it's also going to attack the enemy with the lowest HP and ignore part of the target's defense. For her passive active, whenever this champion attacks, inflicts 3% more damage to each target for each turn remaining on all of their skill cooldown. The active effect resets the cooldown of one of this champion's skills each time they kill an enemy. So if you're looking into doing something with dungeons, she can definitely do some damage output. You can definitely use her in arena as well. The only thing I noticed with Alice is she definitely needs like really good gear, or at least pretty good gear, to really be able to see that damage output. And I don't think she's super unique to other champs you're gonna get down the line compared to some of the other options. So well, she's really good, and maybe you would put her in a double S tier. For those reasons, I am gonna put her in A tier. She is great. She is a good attacker. She can do a lot of damage, but not super unique, I guess, in that sense. So that is where I'm gonna place her. And I've got one more for you. So this one is gonna be one of the newest ones. Now, I'm actually gonna put this champion down on C. If I was to actually go ahead and pick one of these champions to add to my roster, he's not going to be the top choice, and that's just because I don't think Greenwarden Ruarch does enough to earn himself a higher up slot with an A or a double S. I'm not going to put him in an F though. I'm going to keep him at the C tier. So he is the only one on this list that is actually a legendary defense type. So his aura is going to be ally defense in all battles by 30%. First skill attacks an enemy, transfers all debuffs from this champion to the target, heals this champ by 5% of their max HP for each debuff transferred, attacks all enemies, 80% chance of placing a decreased attack debuff for 2 turns, also steals all continuous heal buffs from each enemy, cannot be resisted, places a taunt buff, 60% increased defense buff, and 25% strengthen buff on this champ for 2 turns. And then whenever an ally loses 10% or more of their max HP from a single hit, places a shield buff on that ally for 2 turns equal to 10% of their max HP. So he does give you a bit of support for your champions, but if I'm putting him in comparison to everybody else I have on this list, especially if I'm going to compare him to somebody like Tuhanarak, I think you can kind of see why I do have him lower in on this tier list. I almost feel bad he's by himself down there, but I do think that's kind of earned. Now, if that's your thing and you want that legendary type of a defense champ, if you are looking for a champ that can give you a bit more of the taunt and strengthen, I mean, you can definitely pick him. It's just that for me personally, he is not going to be my top choice. So again, to get yourself a Legendaries, you just simply download using my link, scan that QR code on the screen, or click the link down in the description box. That gives you a Legendaries right away, day 1, and then at level 10, level 20, and level 30, get you guys some epics. You do get 3 epics along the way who are really good, including Hugo, Fane, and Mausoleum Mage. And then to get Michelangelo, you just log in for 7 days. Now, next is where you actually get to pick one of those champions I went over. So if you were looking to get Tuhanarak, the code that you would actually want to use for her is going to be Desert Queen. If you're looking to get Sun Wukong, the code for him is going to be Monkey King. If you're interested in getting Alice, then the code for her is Get Alice. And lastly, if you were interested in Greenwarden Ruarch, the code for him is going to be Tree Hugger. So remember, you're going to want to enter one of these new player codes right away as soon as you have gotten a Legendaries in your inbox and you know the download link worked because you are a new player. If you have trouble actually download rate and it doesn't give you a Legendaries, it means the game does not think you are a new player. I have actually made a video explaining how you can work your way around that, so be sure that you check that video out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and changing things up a little bit to be able to break these champions down for you in a different way. Best of luck if you are starting some new accounts. I want you guys, though, comment down below and let me know if you've been playing. How are you liking your Michelangelo? And be sure that you guys also subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos, as I am putting a new video out every day. I will see you guys next time. Bye!